Hi folks, it's Matt here again, and welcome to the second lecture for the Foundations in AI. Right, okay, so without further ado, let's get moving. Now remember, I'm going to do these in clips, right? Okay, so you can jump around and you'll see with the clips, if you have a look at the clips first, the things that are there, so you might be more interested in certain bits than others. I'm going to try and keep it under 10 minutes per clip, okay? Said that last time, keep saying it, but a lot of folk don't listen, so never mind. Anyway, we're doing AI fundamentals and business applications today, so you'll hopefully by the end of today, you'll be even a lot clearer on basically demystifying AI and what AI is all about and how it can be clearly applied to your area, because I'll demonstrate that with a couple of simple things. Now, remember, we're supposed to take this into the workshop, so it's down to your tutors to really contextualize it. I've got my groups, so I've got no problem there. But basically, for those other groups, then you really need to be, asking your tutors and pushing them. And obviously, you can come back and ask me if you like, because you've got access. If you're on Classroom and stuff, you can just ask me. If I've said to a couple of groups, I always do this. If a particular group wanted a wee session just with me, then fine, I can do that. We can jump online or do whatever you want. But it's up to you. Remember, I know you're first year, but it's up to you to push it, okay? Right? You need to kind of, well, you need to talk to me. It's simple as that, okay? So anyway, usual trigger warning, guys. Won't go over it. Went over it last time. What we're going to try and do today. Well, very quickly, I'm going to do a quick reminder within this first wee clip, and hopefully it'll only be 10 minutes. Then we're going to go to demystifying AI. So I'm going to get into things and highlight the subfields of AI, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to hit the prompt debate. So I'm going to talk about prompts and how you do prompting. Basically, what do we mean when we talk about prompt engineering and what we call context engineering, and we'll end up highlighting agents, AI, agentic AI, and stuff like this. And then the thing that you're probably more interested in is tools and applications. I can give you thousands of tools, guys, seriously, right? But we want to be building some stuff and applying to you. So I need you to think about your area, and you'll see in here I've highlighted areas for finance, I've highlighted areas for HR, I've highlighted areas for marketing and for general business and things like that. You'll see when I come to it, okay. So it's up to you, okay, if you want to jump about these, but it's basically four things I'm going to try to cover today. So straight away, yes, it's that old logic bubble stuff. And remember, it's supposed to be, pushing you a little bit, guys. Okay, that's the whole idea. Try to push you here and get you thinking. And I think in the next session, I think I'm going to do that again. I'm going to do that. So you're going to get me for the first three sessions. And I'm going to highlight some future study stuff. So I'm going to get into some theory stuff in that one before you get some of the other guys who come and do their guest lectures. And I should remember and say that. Remember, you're going to get guest sessions. So you're going to get me, got me last week, you got me here now, basically, online, and all your lectures should now be online. Okay. So you've got me for the first week, the second week, and the third week. Okay, and then it's going to change and it's going to be jumping around with different lectures coming in doing specialized sessions and stuff like this. And you'll get me later on, right at the end, for a couple, I think it's two sessions. Okay, anyway, right, evolution of AI. Okay, I won't go over this. Okay, it's just here for you, jump myself out of the way so you can actually see it. Right, so this is just a classic, and of course, surprise, surprise, I think I did this with Nano Banana basically, and it rattled out basically for me. I gave it a reasonable prompt, and it's relatively pretty tight. Remember, whatever you're doing with any of your prompts, a quick thing for everybody, always fact check it. Quick tip, while I remember, I'll do this with my guys. At the end of every prompt, ask the AI, right? If you're unclear, ask questions before you proceed. But at the end of every prompt, okay, so you're forcing the AI to think before it helps, it stops it hallucinating, and it makes sure it keeps it on task, okay. So a very simple line at the end of any prompt, if you're unclear, ask questions before proceeding. Make sure you're 99% sure, and then click, and away it'll go, okay. And it'll come back, it will ask you, okay, which is really good. Try it, it's dead easy, right? So it's a very simple tip with almost any basic prompt, right? It doesn't matter. But anyway, here we got here is this the thing I want to highlight here is the speed of how AI has changed from way back to Turing's day, to Alan Turing way back in the 50s, and where we actually are right now when we talk about generative AI and large language models. And don't worry, I'm going to come into it. Okay, it's just a simple little infographic here, and you can get these. I should also say, if you want to make these, one of the things that I do every day, you jump into to Google, of course, because you've got it there, and go into your Notebook LM, put any source in, and it can generate for you here it will give you like things like this. It will give you slides. It will make you slides. It will make you an infographic. It will do a podcast for you. Do a mind map. It'll do loads of things. Just go into Notebook LM and play around with it, okay? Because my guys will be doing that if they're not already there, right? So let's move on, guys. Okay, I don't want to waste too much time on this. The key thing here for me in this session, or this little clip, I should say, is remember we're talking about AI. We have to locate AI within the wider area of dark technologies. D, distributed ledger systems. You'd call it blockchain. Think of cryptocurrency, okay? Now, cryptocurrency is one use of blockchain. That's all it is. A, of course, is AI. We're going to hit that hard, right? The R stands for the realities, as we would call them. So that's the virtual, augmented, mixed to extended reality, and that's totally mind-blowing stuff. And then you've got quantum computing, and the little plus HIT stands for obviously a whole array of different technologies, everything from brain to computer interface into what we call living intelligence. I haven't mentioned that. Okay, I'll come to that maybe later on, a later date. Haptic technologies, the ability to feel across space and time, right? These are all different technologies, and the key word here is what I'm trying to get to here is this idea of convergence. Everybody looks at AI, it seems to be at the moment, oh, here's a tool for text to video. Oh, here's a tool for avatars. Oh, here's a tool for agentic AI, right? I go, whoa, time out, guys, okay, right? They'll talk about Internet of Things and all the rest of it. The key word for us, and I'm a future studies guy, is think of the word convergence, okay? Or when these things integrate, kaboom, man. This is the real key, and this is where we are right now. This is what's happening right now. In 2026, this is exactly what's happening, okay? Because this is the first run of this module. But I need you guys to think of, wait a minute, it's not just AI. When you converge and bring in all the different aspects of AI, different agents of AI, and they bring together, when you converge all these tools and you bring all this other stuff in, what does it do? I'll tell you what it does. It totally revolutionizes everything that you can see, hear, think about, man. And I think from a futures point of view, and I'll do future stuff in the next session, this is a very exciting time, okay? So, scary time, absolutely. You should have saw that for the first lecture, but also a very exciting time. I always talk about things. When we talk about conversion, we talk about this. When you think of AI in business, and when these things converge, we do not do what we call under the hood, okay? I'll talk about some under the hood stuff in a minute. However, you're not interested in necessarily under the hood. You're not really interested in how it works. Simple analogy I always give to students, I say, if you go in and you drive your car, do you know how it works? Really, you want to get in and it just goes. The key thing for us from a business perspective is in any business, whether you're in finance, HR, marketing, general business, logistics, doesn't matter. What is the problem that the business has got? What innovation can we actually come using AI tools? In other words, what are our applications? And the key that all businesses are interested in, all they care about is what is the value to the business? How does this help the business? How does it create value, and therefore how does it help the business grow? So we want to work problem, innovation, application, value for growth. End of, right? Okay. If you don't want to be a wizard who understands the under the hood stuff, I want to know a bit. I want to work the problems, guys. I want to get the innovation. I want to get the applications, and I want the business to grow, and that means I need to show value. Okay. So that's what we do when we talk about business. But the key thing here with this slide is please remember we're talking about the convergence of all of these technologies. That's where we are today, which really means that businesses will and are transforming at a phenomenal speed, guys. Okay, so again, quick reminder, right? So when we're talking about AI, it's always about artificial ANI. Do you remember what that means? Artificial narrow intelligence. Okay, so it's all around you. And all AI is, remember, it's the ability of machines basically to mimic basically human intelligence. That's what it is. And it's artificial narrow intelligence. We're not the AGI stuff. We're not the ASI stuff, although we're going there, right? That's the plan. Everything that you're basically seeing is still artificial narrow intelligence. Okay, right? Okay. And again, this one is a classic one that I left you with last week from McKinsey. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this session. This is the first clip. What is it? Yep. And then I'm just going to play this and then jump to the next clip. Okay. So I'll see you in the next clip, but watch this.
Artificial intelligence is really techniques that help machines and computers mimic human behavior. It's like a Russian nesting doll. Artificial intelligence at the highest level is the device being smart. how it becomes smart under the hood then is the next layer of machine learning, which are the general techniques or a variety of techniques that are used to make that device smart. And then there's a further subset of algorithms or techniques called deep learning. Artificial intelligence is going to be used in everything. So I'll give you two examples. If a car has intelligence built in, if it can see the world, so looking at what's on the road, looking at you as the driver, and being able to anticipate and course correct when something goes wrong, something jumps into the road. Autonomous vehicles of any kind are not going to be autonomous without artificial intelligence. In the medical field, new treatments that'll come from the analysis of reams of data to detect cancers and diseases. Today, machines are smart, and they're smart because of AI, but AI still has a dependency on us, people.